Hello, everyone. Hi, good afternoon. My name is Shaga. I'm a learning and outreach coordinator from the Cinematheque, and I'm happy to be here with you all. And welcome to UPC Camp's Play and Learn at Home live stream. Um, well, thank you so much for having me. And as you know, we're going to learn how to make a little animation, a very short animation at home. So the very first thing that I want to introduce you is the application that we'll be using today. So the application is called Stop Motion Studio. It's free on Android phones, and it's also free on iPhones and iOS users. So please um, find this application if you haven't and install it uh, on your tablet and on your phone. Um, and before we start today, I just wanted to share a few notes with you. Um, so for our live stream today, everyone should turn off their audio and video. So please make sure that your video and audio is off. And if you have any questions, use the chat function and one of our moderators will respond to you as soon as possible. And if you have any questions for me, I would be more than happy to answer you at the end of this workshop. Uh, and please make sure that we use respectful language for this workshop. So please go and find this application on your Play Store or your on your phone. Studio, and we're going to go over the application and explain how this application works. So you don't have to follow me as I'm going. You have as I'm going along, and by doing that, so just listen and watch me doing it, and just watch how this application works. And at the end, you have an access to go to UPC YouTube channel and find this video session again, and you can watch it again and do it at home. So for this animation, this short animation, I have a story. So I wrote down my story, and my story is pretty simple. It's a car accident. So I found the objects that I wanted at home. So I have like a little car with a bunch of rocks, and you can use any objects that you can find, in your home. It can be vegetables, it can be toys and Legos. You can even, act yourself, and you can ask your family members to be in front of the camera. So the story can't get very complicated. It can be very simple, but make sure that you write it down before, doing it. And a few tips before, going through the application itself is that you need to make sure that your tablet or your phone is is located in a very stable place. So one thing that I'm using today is a phone holder. You've probably seen this before, because, like a selfie stick has the same thing. So you can, if you have like a selfie stick, use this phone holder, and just install your phone on this. And you can put it on a tripod, or if, let's say, you don't have like a phone holder, I found paper clips at home. So basically, you can put your tablet or your phone on these paper clips like that, and then if you just put it, on a surface, it stays. So this is just a little tip to how to, hold your tablet or phone. So make sure your phone or tablet is on a stable place and it doesn't move, because we don't want to move our camera for stop motion. And also make sure that your lighting is consistent. Make sure that the lighting is pretty good, and the lighting doesn't get changed. And you will see when I'm showing you the app how it works. All right, so for now, I'm just gonna share my phone screen with you and introduce this application. Hope by now you installed the application on your tablet or your phone. All right, so as I told you before, the application is called Stop Motion Studio, and it's a pretty simple application. So if you just press on new movie, there is this window that's gonna show up. So in this window, you have a bunch of options. So the very first thing that I wanna show you is the setting itself. So press on the setting, and there is this bar at the bottom is just gonna show up, right? So on this setting, the very first thing you have is the frames per second, or movie speed. So frames per second basically means how many images or how many frames you'll capture within 1 second. So for now, I'm gonna choose 5, but for smooth animation, please choose 15. And as some of you may know, when we watch a film or when you watch, let's say, a cartoon or animation, the film is getting captured 24 frames per second. That's how, let's say, naturally our eyes can see. Uh, so, but for this purpose, I would say choose either 15 or maybe a slower number for only 5 frames per second. This is what I'm choosing for today. Okay, so I'm choosing 5 here, and then the next thing on the setting is the transition. Transition basically means that, let's say my film is starting and I want to use fade in from the black to my film, and then fade it out to black at the end. So as you can see, I have a few options here. I have fade in from black, fade in and out, and fade out to black. We usually use fade in in the beginning of our clip and fade out at the end of our clip. So I want both. So I'm choosing the second option here. Okay, the next one is aspect ratio. Aspect ratio basically means that how cropped, let's say, my video is gonna look like. So for example, you have different mode. You can choose a square, or you can choose cinema mode, or you can choose portrait. For now, I'm gonna just go with cinema mode. The next thing that I have is graphic. So then the only graphic that is available for free on this app is the spy camera. As you can see, the other ones are locked. So if you want to unlock the other graphics, you need to purchase the premium version of this app. But it's not that necessary for now, so I'm just gonna go with no graphic. And then the next option that I have is filters. So filters is basically like, let's say, different look, right, for your image. So the only available one is black and white, and as you can see, the others are locked. So I don't want my film to look black and white, so I'm not choosing any filter. The next one is the resolution, the quality of your video. So I'm fine with HD, with 1080p resolution. HD is fine for me, so don't worry about it. You can just like choose HD. Okay, so now I'm done with all my settings, and I just pressed on done. And now the next thing that you need to click on is the camera. So tap here on the camera, and you'll see that your camera is on. So as you can see, this is my desk, and this is where my animation is gonna happen. And on this camera, you can also choose either your front or your rear camera. So as you can see at the bottom, you have 3 options. So just press on the camera and you can choose front, as you can see me, as I'm using my front camera, or you can choose rear. And I want to use rear because this is my setting, right? Okay, so you can just press either done or go to M for more settings. So M is for controlling your focus and exposure. And as some of you may know, exposure is basically the light that goes to your camera. So the light that the camera captures is the exposure. For example, in this room, I feel like my room is a little bit dark, or what I can see here is a little bit dark and I want to make it brighter. So now in my setting, I can bring up the exposure and make it brighter. So you will see in a second. So you have the option of automatic or you have the option of manual. So I would say keep it on manual because you have more control over your setting or over your lighting. If you keep it on automatic, you know, the device is going to change, you know, the lighting itself, and we want to avoid that because any changes in your images or in your frame will be visible. So just keep it on manual. And as you can see, there is another option that is available beside M, which is the sun. So if you press on the sun, that's your exposure. So you will see that I can change the brightness, right? So if I'll go all the way down, my image is darker. And then if I'll go all the way up, my image is gonna get brighter. But the problem is that if I'll go all the way up to, let's say, plus 20, my image is too bright, and any object that is in front of my camera won't be really visible. So we're gonna get the good exposure, not too dark or not too bright. So this is too dark and it's hard to see. So for example, for me, um, +4 is the best. I want it to be a little bit brighter, so I'm not using 0, and I using +4 to just, you know, brighten my room up a little bit. Okay, so I'm done with my exposure, and I'm just gonna press done here. And then the next one is plus, close to the sun, to the right of the sun. So this plus is your zoom. Let's say if you want to get like a tighter image, you can just zoom in, and you know, let's say you want to zoom into this object, or you want to zoom in to any objects that you want. So you can actually like change your frame by zooming in or zooming out, but I want to keep it constant, and I'll just gonna use white for now. Okay, so I'm done with my setting and I'm almost ready to uh, do my animation with my objects. Uh, the other option that you have is the timer. So basically this red circle is your recording button. So if you press red, it captures one image. So it's good because you have more control if it's not on a timer. So you can just like ask your parents to press the red button for you, or you can, let's say, put your objects in front of you know, your camera, and then when you think you're ready, you can just press the red button and capture the very first image you want. And the very first one should be you know, like your background without anything, because that's the beginning, right? So don't put, let's say, your character or your object in front of the camera first. Capture the first image as like an empty background. So I'm gonna start my film on a timer because that helps me better. Um, the timer is quite useful if you know what you want to do. If your story, if you have, let's say your story written or you memorize that. So I know what I want to do. I practiced before, and um, I want to put it on my camera on a timer, and it depends on you. If you want, like, if you need 20 seconds, you can just put 20 seconds, and the camera capture the photo itself after each 20 seconds. So I would say 5 or 6 is enough for me. So I'm gonna choose 5 and I'm gonna press done. Okay, so as you can see, the timer icon turned blue, so it means the timer is on. All right, so I have everything that I want here. I have my rocks and I have my car and I'm ready to animate. All right, so I'm just gonna press the red button and I'm just gonna capture the very first image. So that's the first one without anything. And then this is gonna be the second one. So basically I have like 5 seconds to put my objects in front of the camera. You don't have to be that quick. You can just take your time or put your timer in a slower time, or just press on the recording button yourself or ask someone else to do it for you. And don't worry if you made any mistakes. Like I think for the last one, um, my hand got captured. It's okay because you can actually delete your frames. So as you can see, I'm moving my rock quite slowly because we want the movements to be consistent. So I'm moving my character or my object a little bit slowly for like each frames. And as slower as you are, your animation will be actually smoother. Okay, so now I'm gonna bring my car in. So I want my car to actually come in a little bit, like I want just like the front part of my car. So every time that I'm moving my object, I'll just move it forward a little bit, right? Because I want my animation to be smooth. And one thing that you can actually see is my shadow. This shadow is gonna be problematic at the end. So that's why I'm asking everyone to choose a consistent lighting. So make sure that the room that you're in has no shadow, because you'll be able to see, um, this shadow at the end. So it's all the images is not gonna look like the same. Okay, now let's say the accident happened. So my my car is gonna be on the top of a rock, and now the whole car is on the top of the rock. I want to make sure that I've got it right, so I'm gonna take 2 frames here, and now I'm flipping my car, and that's the accident. So I'll just show you how my story looked like. So I stopped recording, as you can see on the screen, and if you press play on the top of your red button, you'll be able to see the last frames of your film. But if you go back to uh, your, if you just press on the arrow and go back, you will be able to see all your frames. So this is my main menu, right? And now I can see I got 40 frames, and that's how my animation looks like. So now you have the freedom of getting rid of the frames that you, let's say, made a mistake, right? So for example, on this one, I can see my hand and I don't want it. So if I just like put my finger on this frame, this window is gonna pop up, and I want to delete it because I don't want this, and that was a mistake from me. So I'm gonna delete this one as well. So I got rid of my hand. And then you can also find any other, you know, um, wrong frames and just delete it. So I'm gonna delete this one as well. And now I can see my hands and I can see my objects moving, right? Okay, so I'm just gonna press play to the right, at the bottom to the right, and then you will be able to see my film. And as you can see, my shadow in the background is getting changed, but you can also see that the transition that I turned on, fade in and fade out, is actually happening in my video, right? So make sure that there is no shadow. um, but you can see that, you know, my objects are moving. And that's the whole purpose. Okay, so I'm just gonna go quickly over more settings or option. So let's say when I was holding my finger on one image, I deleted bunch of frames, right? Now you have more options. You can, let's say, put audio on, or you can copy your frames and add it, or you can cut and, let's say, cut and then move this frame to somewhere else. So for now, I'm good, and I'm just gonna press on edit. And on edit, I can, as you can see, rotate or crop my frame. Or I can just like flip it vertically or horizontally. And I can turn it into black and white. It will go on graphic. And then I can also, you know, change the opacity if I want it to be, if I want my frame to be less visible. So I don't want any filters, so I'm just gonna go back to no filter for now and just press done. So here is like more settings that you have, and your film is almost ready to be published. Like my film is ready, right? My film, I feel like my film is good for now. And a few other options that you have, as you can see on the left side, is that you can record your voice over top of each frame. So this mic on the left is for recording your voice. So you can press record and, let's say, do a voiceover on your animation. And then with the plus, you can also add images. Plus is at the bottom of the mic. So if you press on plus, you can add image, title, or audio, or music. But some of these options are only accessible by purchasing the app. But let's say I don't want any music over top and I just want to record my voice and talk over it, and I can just record my voice by the mic on the top. So now I feel like my film is good to go. And I flip this frame and I'm just gonna delete it and start from here. Okay, so if you go back, you will be able to see that your first film is at the first menu, right? So if you hold your first movie and just like click on the first movie and hold, you will be able to you know, press on share button and export your movie. And then it will be get saved on your device. Okay, so that's how the stop motion studio works. And that's all I've had so far to explain to you. I know there was like a lot of information, but as I told you in the beginning, you'll be able to go to UBC Camp's YouTube channel, and this session is recorded already. Go to UBC Camp's YouTube channel and watch it again and follow my instruction to make your animation. And please share your animation and share your experience online by tagging UBC Camps on Instagram or Facebook. You can also use the hashtag UBCPlayLearn. You can also use the hashtag the Cinematheque, so I can also be able to watch your film and watch your animation, and I'll try my best to give you feedback and leave you some comment. But share your film and share your animation with your friends and family, and also join the next UBC camp on April 27th. The next camp is called Saving Your Oceans. It starts at 11 a.m. on April 27th, and it's for children from 6 to 8 years old. Thank you so much for having me, and I hope that you've had fun today, and I'm looking forward to see all your small animation. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye for now.